Good evening, race fans. Welcome back as we're live for the FEG PC Daytona 75. It is the opening round of Segment 3 for the FEG PC.net Truck Series at the virtual Daytona International Speedway. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East in the booth bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we are currently underway for qualifying to see who's going to be able to score the top spots here today for the opening heat race. A little bit different format than what we have seen in the past. It is going to be two different heat races deciding who gets the opportunity to race for the big dogs for the season opener. As again, there's over, I believe, 40 entries just in this first heat race alone. So this is going to be quite the exciting race. Again, there is one heat race early on, and they're going to go to a second heat race that should be starting at 9:10. We'll be covering all the action for both of them here at the Team Goon Squad Broadcasting channel. And I've got to say, probably the biggest event we've ever had the pleasure of broadcasting. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen today, as you got a bunch of guys that have never raced together, and they're going to be out here for the first time, all trying to put their name on the top spot of the podium to bring home the big prizes here at the FEG PC Truck Series as the season progresses. Right now, it's Big D on top of pole, the number 78 machine, the Ford F-150. As we're watching Matt Lee in the 04 machine, Lee has been one of the fastest drivers in all of the FEG PC events. As just like that, puts it on pole with a 52.23. Lee in the 04 machine, he's going to be somebody to keep an eye on all night long, as he's very consistently up towards the top each and every time these competitors are out on track. As now we're watching Joe Burgess in the number 32 F-150, another FEG PC regular we're used to seeing out here each and every week. It is good to be back, ladies and gentlemen, after quite the long hiatus as we went in between Segment 2 and Segment 3. Again, this is the opening round for Segment 3. We've had the pleasure of broadcasting their truck season all year long, as well as the FEG PC Cup Series they ran earlier on Wednesday nights. But it has been since August 9th since we've had the opportunity to be in the booth here for you guys. And I've got to say, this is going to be quite the exciting race as we get ready to take it to one of the biggest grids we've ever seen in FEG PC history. Starting on pole, Matt Lee in the 04 machine. We've got Big D starting second in the number 78. Cody McCauley starting third. Michael J. Johnson will be starting fourth here today. And then we've got Stephen Page starting fifth. Tristan Bailey starting sixth. Jory Gotham starting seventh. Charles Mullins starting eighth. Christopher Carter starting ninth. Chad Ross starting 10th. Jody Hogan starting 11th. Charles Griffin starting 12th tonight on the grid. We've got Eric Park starting 13th, James Kaufman starting 14th, Josh Holmes starting 15th, Brad Herman starting 16th, Adam Schoen starting 17th, Jeffrey Radke starting 18th on tonight's grid, Buddy Pitt starting 19th, James Smith starting 20th, Brandon Barber starting 21st, Donald Ray starting 22nd, Jose Medina starting 23rd, Bill Miller will be 24th on tonight's grid. Travis Beardser starting 25th, Mike Pachinka starting 26th, Robert Neller starting 27th, Jim Duda starting 28th, Trevor Hoke starting 29th, Ryan Travers starting 30th, David Emig starting 31st, Tony Kimmett starting 32nd, Michael Newbrot starting 33rd, Sammy Davis 34th on tonight's grid, Gene Cato starting 35th, Joe Burgess starting 36th. Cycling back a little bit further, you got Andrew Throop starting 37th, Anthony Reiner starting 38th, Jeremy Core starting 39th, Austin Reedy starting 40th, Christopher McKeithen starting 41st, Matthew Curry starting 42nd, and then CJ Mason rounds out our 43 truck field here today. My, oh my, is this going to be exciting in the opening heat race. 25 laps, and only the top 20 advancing in the heat race to the finale later on here today. going to get ready to send them out. It's looking about 36 drivers have made their way out on track here today. As again, look at that absolute massive field here for the opening round of the FEG PC Truck Series every Monday night. Again, tonight's a little bit out of the normal. We are running heat races to decide who gets to make it into the main event, as we've got one truck, parked on pit lane. We caught somebody sleeping. There he is. He is woken up. We're going to get the grid formed up. It's going to be D and Lee on the front row, the number 78 in the 04. Keep an eye on Matthew Lees. He's been one of the strongest trucks all season long. "25 laps, only 20 advantage," and a absolutely massive field out here today. Again, 35 drivers out of the 43 that registered did make it out on track, but this has the potential to be very good or absolutely tragic out on track. Time will tell, as we're going to see if anybody has any sort of patience in tonight's heat race. Thank you to everybody that tuned in tonight to support the FEG PC opening round of segment 3. I greatly appreciate it. I know all the drivers appreciate it as well. As the pace car comes in, the green flag flies. It's Matt Lee on the inside row as he takes the green flag here at Daytona. I have a sneaking suspicion, though, that this is going to be a night where the replay button may get its overtime put in. Cody McCauley with an early move up into second place, driving down the inside line, as well as Michael J. Johnson, the number 39 Toyota Tundra. Right now it's Toyota first through third in the opening laps. Now we have to see who's going to be patient and who's going to maybe push a little bit too hard too early on. As tonight, more of a public race than it was the normal league race we've seen, allowing open entries for the opening round. Before then, we will go into our regular scheduled program. You're on board Matt Lee, our current race leader. Behind him, we've got a slew of drivers as D trying to get the outside line working. He's accompanied by Michael J. Johnson, I believe, in the 39 machine. No, that's the number 24 of Tristan Bailey, trying to get the high side line working behind the number 78 of D. Only a few trucks on that outside line. It's D, Bailey, and the number 39 of Michael J. Johnson, as they get just a little bit squirrely there, able to hold on to it. As behind them, they're briefly going 3 wide. McCauley, the number 62 Toyota, looks like he was hinting at going to the high line, not able to quite get clear of D. As, man, what an absolutely massive field here today. Only 23 laps left to go in the opening heat race. A lot of very talented racers. I am curious to see who may be hanging around in the back here waiting for the big one to come out. As a couple of guys may be having internet problems. I believe Tony Kivett and Anthony Ryan are having a bit of blinking issues towards the back of the field. And man, look at that side by side. Not a lot of room to breathe or risk any mistakes. One single mistake here up at the front can rapidly end the night of everyone involved at the front of the field and really the entirety of the back of the field. As the inside line gets a bit of a charge there. D not able to quite get the run he wants in the Gravedigger sponsored Ford F-150. But look at that, number 62 machine, Cody McCullough gets a big run. He's going to be your race leader, leading D and Matt Lee here, but for how long is Matthew Lee is not one to let it hang on. We've got Big Bacon Media joining in here today, as well as our friends over at 3Y TV. Always great seeing everybody on board, supporting their favorite drivers. And Bacon said it best, plate racing at its absolute finest. Everybody trying to jockey around. Now, I've got to say I'm impressed that the drivers are being a little bit more patient than I would have expected here for a heat race with only 25 laps. Oh, hold on to it up front. Cody McCullough drops down to the inside in front of Matt Lee. Matt Lee in the 04 machine, he is no stranger to being pushed or being the driver that does the pushing. But it is very good to see some of the regulars from the FEG PC joining back out here today, as well as a whole lot of new faces joining for their first time here today. Again, top 20 make the cut. Right now it's Jim Duda in the number 053 Toyota Tundra. He is on the bubble going back and forth with Adam Schoen for that final transfer spot. Now these are a couple guys you can expect to try and make some moves here, given the opportunity to try and give themselves a little bit more room to breathe and not have to worry. But again, we've only got 19 laps left to go. This is going to be a game of patience for all involved. Good seeing Chad Ross in the black and blue number 38 machine, one of our season regulars out there currently running 18th on track. Running that inside line next to Jim Judah in the 053. And what a great onboard camera shows just how white knuckle this can be around the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. Everybody getting some big runs, but really nowhere to go with it. Everybody's been pretty patient, haven't seen too many three-wide attempts here at Daytona early on. And the guys out front, they know, hey, we don't have to win this thing. We just got to be in the top 20 to make it to the main event. That's a great onboard footage. You're right next to Cody McCullough, the race leader, number 62, but look at the run from the outside line. McCullough swings wide just a little bit, trying to take the air off the number 62 machine, or the number 78 machine. And what a lot of great-looking trucks out here today. Everybody keeping it nice and calm. Look at this, we got Jory Gotham, our 35 machine. He is one of the only rookie oval racers I see out on track here today. So well done to Jory, coming straight out and hopping straight in the deep end. I mean, as far as races where you want to show up and make your debut with a lot of professionals, this is it. I mean, there's several 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 I-rating competitors out here today. And Jory Gotham, the number 35 machine, he is up there with them, not trying to back down at all. Jory is currently 6th on track, and he's behind a lot of fast guys. Cody McCullough with about a 4,600 I-rating. Matt Lee with a 6,000 I-rating. Michael J. Johnson, 5,800. So there's a lot of big dogs up here in the front as they're getting a little bit squirrely on that outside line. That was the number 25 machine, James Kaufman, having a bit of a moment. Able to hold on to it. It's going to be interesting to see how long everyone stays patient for before they come out and absolutely send it to try and gain a few more spots. Again, everybody inside the top 15's got to be pretty comfortable where they're at. It is that 15th place back. They're on the bubble. As right now it is Ryan Traver, the number 28 machine, in the Ford F-150, currently on the bubble in that 20th spot. And he's right next to Chad Ross, his season regular, in the number 38 machine. Now Traver in the number 28, he is currently up 11 spots, has worked his way up to 19th early on here today. $15 laps left to go. I would expect once you have about 5 laps left to go, you're going to see some drivers doing whatever it takes to guarantee that transfer spot. And that, if we're going to see the big one here at Daytona in the Heat 1 race, I think that is when it's going to be. Check back out front. Jody McCullough, your racing in the number 62 machine, sitting nice and pretty on the inside line, not wanting to force the issue too much early on, and just kind of take it easy here at Daytona as you watch all of our competitors play a gigantic game of Snake. We're 2 rows wide and about 15 rows deep. And what a great drone shot from the Team Goon Squad drone angle. Again, we touched on it earlier. Thank you all so much that tune in each and every week, supporting your favorite drivers on your favorite channel and your favorite league. We couldn't do it without you guys, and we notice each and every week, everybody that likes the video and subscribes to the channel, we truly could not do it without you. And keep an eye out as we start uploading more real-life racing footage as well to the Team Goon Squad channel. And for the rest of the FEG PC Truck Series, we'll be covering all their action each and every Monday night, as it is always some great racing out on track. These guys are known for some great green flag runs. And today you've seen about 12 laps at Daytona side by side, and we've had a couple of little moments, but nothing too crazy so far. And these guys absolutely flying, hitting trap speeds of 195 miles an hour. And I don't know if people at home can appreciate just how white knuckle that really can be, as there is not a lot of time to breathe on these race machines. We're going to take you on board with Michael J. Johnson, currently 5th on track, running the inside line. And we'll let him show you what's going to take a corner at wide open speeds at Daytona. And that's a great angle that shows you not a lot of room for mistakes here, or you can find yourself involved in an incident early on. And again, if and when we see a crash, it is usually absolutely spectacular. We've got fan favorite Jay Dargan joining in. Always good to see Dargan. He'll be running in Heat 2 tonight. Again, Heat 2 qualifying starts at 9:05 p.m. Eastern, with the race starting at 9:10. So with a little bit of luck, we'll be able to go straight from Heat 1 right into Heat 2 and not miss a single bit of action. Again, the Heat race is not necessarily the norm here for the FEG PC Truck Series, but they had such huge interest and one of the biggest events of the season for sim racing enthusiasts. Everybody wanted to get on board. I believe they had over 90 entries tonight. I'll have to double check on that with race control. Last count was 81, but there were still drivers signing up all the way to the start of Heat 1 here today. Ten laps left to go for Heat 1. And it has been a very great racing so far here today, as we've been side by side for the entire duration of the event. Nobody really having too many big moments. 9 laps left to go. It is still McCauley, number 62 machine, running out front. We got one driver coming out of pit lane. I believe that's going to be Trevor Hoke, just making his way back out on track. Not sure what he might have had go wrong there. Maybe mechanical, not quite sure. We'll have to check in with his team later on. As it looks like the top 5 drivers get a bit of a breakaway. That's D, McCauley, Bailey, Lee, and Johnson. A little bit of room to breathe as we get some of our first hints at 3-wide action as they're going to dash down pit lane. Having to make one stop, it's going to be D, Gotham, Kaufman, Holmes, Miller take over the top 5 here today. We saw one crash. We're going to see if we get a quick replay of it and see what might have happened there to Donald Ray. And such a great camera angle. Sends it down the apron, maybe grabbed a little bit of too much, possibly too much grass, too much apron. It's hard to tell. The double yellow line here at Daytona, extremely slippery. But this is going to be very interesting, as about half the field has pitted on lap 17, while the top 18 have not pitted. So how is this going to play into effect, as now you've got D and Holmes battling for the lead. As the caution comes out, oh no, this is going to really upset some things in the running order with only 7 laps left to go. And it's going to be James Smith involved in I believe, a single car incident. Let's take a look here. Ooh, Smith kind of gets beat around there, the number 6 machine. And a hard hit in the outside wall. We're going to watch that one once more from the Team Goon Squad drone cam. Gets a little hearty shove there, able to collect himself, and then the other driver just comes up into him, nowhere to go, and that is going to bring out the first caution of the night for James Smith, the number 6 machine, who absolutely drills the outside wall in his Miller-backed Toyota Tundra. So this is going to be very intriguing, as now a lot of odds-on favorite to win this, such as Matt Lee, is currently in 20th after that pit stop. Will the leaders have to come in? Yes. D, Holmes, Gotham, Ross, Kaufman all coming into pit lane. And then you have to go all the way back to 20th place is where the second set of cars is that has not pitted yet. Or excuse me, that has pitted early on. So the first caution of the night comes out in what was relatively a single truck incident, not the worst crash we've ever seen here at Daytona, and with how massive the grid here is today, it could have been much worse from all parties involved. And it's going to be a final shootout, as right now we are on second call for Heat 2 qualifying. Again, that starts at 9:05 with the actual Heat 2 race starting at 9:10. Not entirely sure what time the main event starts. We're going to have to get in touch with race control and maybe dial that one in. It's going to be Tristan Bailey, Matt Lee, your front row, followed by Herman and Johnson, McCauley and Medina No way Jose Medina making his way back out here today for segment 3. Gotta get a closer look at that truck, as normally he finds himself in a tequila-backed ride, the Tecate beer some nights. There it is, the Tecate machine is back out on track. Always great seeing Jose. One of the funniest competitors we ever have the opportunity to talk to, especially when we get him up in pit lane. The guy is an absolute hilarious driver. We got Mike Kinzel join in, cheering on Bailey and Herman. Again, Bailey's out front, the number 24 machine for this restart. Herman, I believe, will be starting 3rd. Bailey's up 5 spots. Herman is up 13 so far here today. Pace car should be making its way in this time by. And we're going to send him out for the final restart. Hopefully the final restart of Heat 1. And drivers for Heat 2. You're on 3rd and final call, starting the qualifying at 9:05. So 1 minute, 3rd and final call for Heat 2. Pace car is in. Here we go. The green flag flies once more at Daytona. It is Tristan Bailey out front, followed by Matt Lee, who's right next to him in the 04 machine. Now again, these drivers just have to finish in the top 20. As we go back, it is David Emig and James Kaufman battling for that final transfer spot. Kaufman's 19th, Emig is 20th as they're side by side. And if you're going to see any big moves, it's going to be about this portion of the field, as everybody in front of them not battling for points, just the transfer spot. As this is where things are going to get really exciting very quickly for all of our competitors. We'll pull up the live time and scoring tower on the left side of your screen. You can see where your favorite driver is. As now it's going to be Emig and Parks battling for that transfer spot. Three laps left to go here for Heat 1 at Daytona. Now, we did get confirmation from race control that the main event will start right after the second qualifying. We'll get the drivers out on track. 2 laps left to go, though, for the opening heat race, as now David Emig has gotten bested by Eric Parks. Parks is currently on the bubble in 20th spot, trying to qualify for his first main event. Actually, no, I take that back. Parks, I believe, a season regular here for the FEG PC Truck Series. And I believe he also ran the Cup Series we ran a month prior on Wednesday nights. Up front, it is still Tristan Bailey leading the race ever so slightly, as he's still side by side with Matt Lee. Right now, we got the cameras focused on that final transfer spot as the white flag is about to fly. Right now, David Emig is on the bubble in the number 2, running 20th on track. As now James Kaufman has moved up a spot into the 20th spot, and he's going to try and squeeze in at the very end here. Again, the white flag is out here in Daytona. Kaufman going back and forth with Emig for that final transfer spot. Emig at 19th, Kaufman in 20th. What's going to be at the lines? The field stacks up. And we cause an absolute yard sale. There's trucks flying through the air. Tristan Bailey is going to win it here at the end, followed by Michael Johnson, Matt Lee, Jose Medina in third. As my oh my, that was a crash and a half. When we talk about the big one, that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to grab you a quick replay of that one because it was absolutely spectacular. No words, just good old-fashioned yard sale crashing. Look at the absolute airtime from, I believe that's number 37 machine. No brakes running here today as everybody's trying to grab that final transfer spot. We're going to very quickly show you the results, and we're going to run straight in to Heat 2 of the FEG PC Truck Series. Well, I say that. Might not work. As a great race from all of our competitors. We're going to pull up the timing tower just very quickly, show you the top 20 drivers that did advance tonight. As there we go. Now we've got our results. So quite the race for these guys. But again, the top 20 are going to cycle to the main event, able to make the cut. It is going to be Michael Newbrough at the very end, able to make it. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a very quick commercial break, and we're going to get set up for the Heat 2 event. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we are here for Heat 2. Getting ready to start this party right as our drivers take to the grid. Again, it is only the top 20 that will make it to tonight's grid. But let's take a quick look at the grid and rundown. Jeremy Kors starts on pole. Kenneth Mccullough Jr. starting second. Craig Arvanites starting third. John Olett starting fourth. Jay Dargan, the fan favorite, starting fifth. Cale Seaman starting sixth. Spencer Breslin starting seventh. Austin Reedy starting eighth. Tyler the Weapon Evans starting ninth. S.C. Martin starting 10th. William Lothar starting 11th. Travis Anderson starting 12th on tonight's grid. Cycling back to Robert Charette starting 13th. Matthew Curry starting 14th. John Mollahan starting 15th. Brad Bothwell starting 16th. Casey Solitek starting 17th. CJ Mason starting 18th. Christopher McKeithen starting 19th. Trevor Hoke starting 20th. And I believe that's going to round out tonight's grid for Heat 2. So everybody that races here should transfer to the main event. So let's see what's going to happen here for Heat 2, as Heat 1 was all sorts of exciting. Now the main event will be starting approximately 15 minutes after the completion of Heat 2. We only had one caution in Heat 1 with an absolute packed grid. Let's see if the drivers can do it again here. As the pace car comes in. And the green flag flies at Daytona. Here we go for Heat 2. It's Jeremy Coors out front, as well as Kenneth McCullough Jr., the fast Georgia native, one of my favorites to watch out on track. McCullough's in the 03 machine. The Orioles back to race truck on the high line. You've got a lot of big names out here. Kenneth McCullough Jr., Cale Seaman, Jay Dargan, William Lothar, guys that have raced in all the Matthew Curry's out here today. Guys that have raced in all of the FEG PC events throughout the year. We're out here about to show some of the newcomers what it's all about. Good, clean racing and a lot of fun with a chance to bring home some big prizes at the end of the year. We got a big blink from Spencer Breslin, number 16 machine. He's accompanied right behind, or excuse me, he's got his teammate Tyler Evans right behind him, but Breslin having internet issues. Up front still Jeremy Coors on the inside line, the number 97 Toyota Tundra. You've got Kenneth McCullough on the high line in his Silverado trying to get that line working. Going to be interesting to see what happens out on track. Again, we saw a lot of patience in Heat 1, which was a pleasant surprise compared to what we've seen in other Daytona events. Breslin, again, though, with bad internet problems. Luckily, he has his teammate right behind him to give him a bit of a heads up and a warning. As, ooh, that inside line getting a bit wiggly. We're going to check on fan favorite Jay Dargan, number 57 machine, currently 6th on track. Again, tonight it was only for Heat 2, only the top 20 qualify. We had 20 enter and only 18 make it out to the grid here today. He's cheered on for Austin Reedy and Travis Anderson. Reedy running 7th, and then Anderson is running, I believe, 11th out on track. As it is still Kenneth McCullough Jr. and John Olett battling out front. McCullough has dropped that inside line ahead of Jeremy Coors. Able to get down in a little bit more favorable position. It's interesting to see McCullough running a new paint scheme today. And the Oreo-backed Chevrolet. Now, are we going to see the same great performance we saw from our Heat 1 drivers? Or are they going to be struck with a little bit more bad luck? We saw the Heat 1 drivers really send it there towards the end, but played it nice and patient. For both heat races, it is the top 20 that advance here today to the main event. And I believe they're going to take 3 more random drivers to the main event as well. Always great to see so many drivers coming out for the opening round of the season. And if you want to get on the action, check them out, FEGPC.net. You can come out here and race with a bunch of talented racers that always represent both themselves, their league, and their sponsors extremely well week in and week out. Now I'm curious to see, do they push harder here, knowing that they can make it to the end no matter what, and they will advance to the next round? Or are they going to be comfortable just riding around, I can't say single file, double file, and clicking off laps? I would have to imagine with less than 20 drivers making out for Heat 2, they would most likely be willing to send a little bit more. We've got Tony asking, since there's only 18 drivers running in Heat 2, are they taking the top 22 from the first race? I do not know on that. We will have to check with the race admins in the FEG PC Discord and maybe get an answer. I would imagine they probably would, but at the end of the night, I am only a broadcaster. So if you hear me make a call and it's against your favorite racer and you think I'm wrong, let me know, because my opinion has no bearing with what happens out on track here today. Still a lot of great action. Really haven't seen that many big moves forward or back besides McCullough taking over the race lead. After starting on the high line here at Daytona, McCullough's up 1 spot. I think our current hard charger is going to be CJ Mason. Mason currently 14th in the number 55 machine. He's up 3 spots here today. As man, oh man, at 195 miles an hour, that is quite the fast game of Snake our competitors are playing. You can watch the guys drifting around, trying to stay in line from the guys ahead of them. As again, Breslin having that internet problem, number 16 machine right ahead of his teammate, Tyler Evans. 2 Team Goon Squad sponsored drivers for this series coming out for their very first time for FEG PC. Craig Arvantes getting a hearty shove from John Olin to try and work his way up into the lead here. Is he going to drop down low and leave the number 62 machine high and dry? Or is he going to try and lead the charge in the outside lane? And just like that, Arvantes drops down low. I'm not sure if it's Arvantes or Arvanetis. We'll have to ask him after the race. As Breslin in the number 16 machine has dropped towards the back with his internet problems, having to get out of the way of the drivers with more stable internet connections. That is the kind of the gentleman's rule with iRacing. If you have some sort of connectivity issues, it is considered the right thing to do to drop out of the way. As look at this, we're going 3 wide up here up front. You've got Jeremy Corris in the middle. Cale Seaman on the high line, and look at that, there they go. Tyler Evans gets collected. Evans involved, Lothar involved. And the 2 teammates of Breslin and Evans involved. We'll take a look at that one and see what happened. Oh, the number 67 might have got just tail tapped from the number 48, and that sent Evans right out into traffic. We're going to watch that one once more from the number 48's point of view, Travis Anderson. Now I think the 67 might have got into the wall all by himself there. That was Martin. We're going to back that up just a little bit and take another look at it. So let's see what happens to Martin. The number 67 machine goes to the high line. Maybe misjudges, leaves quite the mark on the outside line. Gets tagged on the number 48. Sends him into both Evans and Lothar. And that causes a little bit of a pile up here. Oh, look at that close save. Man, hard hit for all involved. Now these guys do have one fast repair. So Evans is going to try and stay on the lead lap. Breslin, number 16, as well as Lothar, I believe, had to take toes into pit road with too much damage. That'll bring out the first caution for Heat 2. Again, there is about a 15-minute break between Heat 2 and the main event here today. Again, that'll be covered live as well. As the entire field will come into pit road for their one stop. Dargan opts to stay out, as well as Mullihan and Curry. As we're going to get them gridded back up, these long, eye-pacing moments at Daytona. Now, is Dargan, Mullihan, and Curry going to stay out here, as Reedy also appears to have stayed out in the number 11 machine? We saw from Heat 1 that most of the drivers did have to take one stop. But are these top 3, top 4 drivers banking on maybe another caution? Cautions do breed cautions, so going to be interesting to see what the play is from these drivers. So are we going to see Dargan come into pit lane? There's Breslin making his way back out on track despite the heavy blinking, trying to salvage his evening. So it looks like Dargan's going to stay out. Now, if we do have another caution, he may be able to fuel save to the end and make it. But it's going to be hard to tell, I think. Here we go, green flag flies. It's Dargan and Mullihan side by side. Both of these competitors on older tires. Mullihan drops on the inside line, though, before crossing the start-finish line. I'm not sure if that's legal or not, but we'll have to see. As right behind him, he's got Spencer Breslin, number 16 machine, who is down a lap, if not laps, I believe. Yes, Breslin is down 2 laps, so he's going to be hanging out, trying to keep his nose clean and maybe score a lucky dog if the caution comes out once more. And no, Breslin bails out, goes down the apron, allowing the rest of the field by. The top 20 were scheduled in advance. I'm not sure if that's going to shake up or not, with less than 20 making it out for tonight's grid. But at the very minimum, I believe all these competitors will make it to the main event. As the fan favorite Jay Dargan leads some laps here at Daytona, the number 57 machine doing a fantastic job getting a hearty push from John Mullahan's number 18 machine. $11 laps left to go in this final heat race of the night. As, ooh, what an angle that is. If they go 2, 3 wide, everybody trying to find a dance partner going into turn 3, and they're going to go 3 wide once more. And there they go, another huge crash. Sends them careening around. William Lothar, Brad Bothwell, Casey Sawatek, all involved in that one. That's going to bring out a caution once more. The play may work for Jay Dargan. And we could have guessed that one was going to happen. Not sure what hooked the number 9 there originally. But it very quickly turns into parking lot. I believe that's the second crash Lothar was involved in. I'm not sure if Evans took damage because he was involved in the first crash as well. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what angle we're about to watch, ladies and gentlemen. So right now you're on board with the Team Goon Squad backed driver, Tyler Evans, number 15 machine. You're on board, and look at this. A little bit of a tag on the outside wall, but able to hold on to it with all his might. And here's the save of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Sends it down the apron the last possible second to try and keep that number 15 machine just clean enough. Now, is Jay Dargan going to be able here to hold on to fuel with 10 laps to go? This is our second caution of the heat race. And these guys are having a much tougher time than Heat 1. So Dargan may be able to do well here today just on fuel strategy. But Heat 2 going a little bit rougher for the guys compared to Heat 1. 2 cautions early on. Several great drivers absolutely collected. As I believe Lothar is going to stay out on track. I don't believe Breslin got the lucky dog there. And no, Lothar did have to return to pit lane with 2 damage of a race truck. We're going to get them sorted back, pointing in the right direction, and we're getting ready to let the green flag fly for possibly the final time, as it is again Jay Dargan, the fan favorite, on the front row, accompanied by Jeremy Kors, the number 97 machine. It's going to be Dargan on the inside line, and his marine painted Chevrolet Silverado, accompanied by the Toyota Tundra on the left side of your screen. Again, that's Jeremy Kors, the number 97 Toyota, occupying the same front row with the world-famous Dargan. Race car will be in this time by possibly the final restart of the race. Good to see Kors out here. I don't know if we've seen Kors out here for the other FEG PC events we ran in the past. He very well may be a newcomer, and in a field of what we would call regulars, it's great to see him running up front so strong. There'll be 7 laps left to go as they cross the line. Dargan gets a fantastic launch. He's going to be accompanied by Matthew Curry, the number 54 machine, as well as CJ Mason on the inside line. As Jeremy Kors gets a fantastic run on the outside line. Is he going to be able to do anything with it, or is Dargan going to hold strong? These guys are absolutely letting it rip with 7 laps to go. Again, for these heat races, they only get 1 fast repair, so you get that 1 get out of jail free card. And we've had several drivers involved in 2 incidents today and having to repair the cars the old-fashioned way with duct tape, flex seals, and a whole bunch of hammers down on the pit wall. They've got to be careful here not to send it careening. As look at that, right as I say that, I believe that was Matthew Curry makes a move. Unable to do anything with it, though, but that absolutely spooked the outside lines. It looked like he was going to come careening up into the race line. As now, are we going to go 3 wide? Yes, several drivers want to press the issue. Evans and the number 17 of Seaman get into it. No caution as of yet. Six laps left to go. The caution will not fly here today, so we're going to try and end it up. We got 5 laps left to go as it's Jay Dargan, Matthew Curry up front. John Mullihan, Travis Anderson, Kenneth Mccullough Jr. making up our top 5. There's a whole lot of usual names out here as we're going 3 wide at Daytona. Oh, these guys are absolutely sending it for the final heat race of the day. If you're just joining in, about 10 minutes after the completion of this race, we will go to our main event where it's going to be 43 drivers, all battling for the season opener of Segment 3 of the FEG PC.net Truck Series. McCullough now, he's going to challenge fan favorite Jay Dargan, the Georgia native Kenneth Mccullough Jr. charging hard later on in the race here. And we've also got Brad Bothwell as well, the number 9 machine, trying to make something happen. Bothwell gets into Dargan, hits the outside wall, sends him absolutely careening around. There's trucks everywhere in a smaller grid. I am surprised that many people were able to get involved as Bothwell gets absolutely destroyed there. We're going to back that up just a little bit more because that's worthy of a super slow motion replay. Bothwell, the number 9 machine. Let's see what happens. Does the number 51 come up? Just ever so slightly. The number 51 gets into Bothwell's number 9 machine. And that's going to send Brad, the number 9, on the ride of the night. As these guys get absolutely launched to orbit. And look at that crash. The hits just keep coming. as it would probably be easier to list who wasn't involved with that incident. I believe we may have had about 6 trucks get through unscathed, and then everyone else an absolute parking lot. So we had somebody ask, why would they do that when they're all going to qualify? I think the answer is, and again, with the clause that I'm a broadcaster, not a race control guy, but I am a racer as well. I think the logic is they've got less to lose, so they've got, I think the reason is they've got less to lose with so many entries that they're willing to push a little bit further and harder than Heat 1, where everybody was battling hard for that top 20 spot. That is just one guy's opinion up here in the booth. Put up a poll in the chat as well. Let us know what you think. Why Heat 2 has got so much action. Now, we had somebody point out something very interesting and said normally if it was a normal heat-style event, the higher you finish in the heat, the better your starting position will be for the main event. I think, though, that they're using these heat races just to see who makes the cut into the main event, less so of what the running order is going to be. I'm going on a wild assumption here based on really nothing, but I'm thinking that they will not be gridded based on their heat finish. I think it'll be based on, the heats will be based just to see who makes it into the final session of the night. But we'll have to see about that one. This will be the final start of the night. I believe the green-white checker attempt. We've got 13 drivers in the lead lap out of about 18 that started here today. And it's going to be 2 regular suspects. Kenneth Mccullough Jr., Jay Dargan starting in the front row, guys that have run all season long. On row 2, we've got John Mollahan and Travis Anderson. Then row 3, we've got Jeremy Kors and Austin Reedy. Now, we heard from one of our regular racers that in the past they have decided, we have got word from one of our regular racers that in the past they have used the heat finishes to decide where the opening lineup's going to be. So, my opinion, again, it could very well be wrong. It could be the the race start is decided by the heat finish, so we will have to see there. I will say, out of all the FEG races I've covered since May, that A, this is definitely the roughest, and B, this is the first time that I've been in the booth when they use the heat style system. So I could be way off base on some of my assumptions here today. Is just like that, they're crashing again. Looks like Cale Seaman involved with that one. Possibly John Olett. Austin Reedy may have been involved. Really hard to tell here. Oh, there goes John Mollahan as well as the white flag comes out. Right as we pan the camera to him. So now it is again Jay Dargan, Kenneth Mccullough Jr. Moore's up, Coors up there in the front. It's Dargan, Coors, McCullough, Evans, Anderson. And oh no, everybody's yard sailing. What happened? We've lost the majority of the field here today. Breslin involved, Dargan involved. No, not the fan favorite, Jay Dargan. So Kenneth Mccullough Jr. with a bit of damage, and the 03 machine is going to bring it around for the final time. He's got about a 7-second advantage over Cale Seaman, who has about a 7-second advantage over Jay Dargan, who is absolutely smoking here. Austin Reed is going to make his way around, but man, what a rough race for everybody. Hopefully not an indicator of what's going to come later on as the checkered flag does fly. And we are going to be taking the top 3 drivers for a podium interview. So we're going to try and get Reedy, Seaman, and McCullough up here in the booth with me. Trying to get Cale Seaman up here, but not quite seeing him. All right, up first, we've got Austin Reedy joining us in the booth. Reedy, you read me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, that was a rough one, my friend, but you're able to bring home a podium with a limping race car. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe I've seen you out here, the FEG PC guys, before.
No, this is my first race with you guys, so excited.
Well, first of all, welcome to the Thunderdome, and second of all, congratulations for surviving with a podium. Is that how you expected Heat 2 to go after watching Heat 1 go relatively clean all the way through?
Kind of. I knew no one had anything to lose. There's only 20 guys out there, so everybody was making it. So I think everybody was a little more aggressive, but it was still a fun race. I don't think we had damage on the car until the last 2 laps, so can't complain. I don't know. I think the only reason I got third is because so many people got disqualified on the last lap of that wreck, but I'll take it.
Yep, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good and just survive. Now, after watching that, and we saw Heat 1 go very well, are you worried that the main event's going to be a kind of a caution fest, or you think it's going to be pretty clean and nobody wanting to risk it early on?
I think we'll be pretty clean early on. I think everybody knows that there's only 2 lines here and can't really bump draft too much. So I think it'll kind of go how Heat 1 went. We'll get our green flag stops and maybe a couple cautions here and there, but then towards the end it'll be that same kind of Daytona Talladega racing where we get those green-white checkers and stuff starts getting crazy.
Well, hope to see you make it through there. Awesome. Before I let you sign off and relax a little bit before we fire up the main event, anybody you want to give thanks to out there that may be supporting you behind the scenes or cheering you on from across the world?
Yeah, we got to thank my sponsor. They're not actually on the truck. I got Monster on there, but More Than a Cape and TJ's team for a nice foundation for kids. So be sure to check them out at morethanthecape.org.
All right, well, good talking to you, man. Welcome to the family, and hope to see you do well in the main event.
All right, thank you, man.
Up next, we've got Cale Seaman bringing it home in second place, and the number 17 machine Toyota. Cale, you read me?
Yes, sir.
Cale, you survived, my friend. Now, I believe you've been out here before with the FEG PC guys, correct?
Yeah, I ran a few races with them last year.
I thought
last
so.
season.
It's just been it's been too long of a break, Cale. It's good to be back with everybody. Now,
Absolutely.
Yeah, you qualified for the main event. You survived when a lot of people were not able to do that. Do you think that's attributed to the more open style lobby we're doing here today, or what do you think makes tonight a little bit rougher for everyone?
Well, I think it was just the nature of the race. I mean, we knew we had enough, for everybody to get into the big race, and everybody was just trying to go for the win. Just kind of a take what you could get as soon as you could get it type of deal.
Yeah, especially, I mean, with only 20 racers making the cut, you had 18 start on the grid. It didn't seem really like anybody had anything to lose there.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's just take every run possible that you could take, and hopefully it works out. And it didn't work out for me a couple of times. I got punted once and got turned down into once, but it's all good. Come home, P2.
Well, great job as always, Cale. Before I let you sign off, my friend, who did I give a shout out to here today?
Just Cody McCauley and my whole 62 Designs team, Josh, John, just everybody that helps with this group that I'm in. It's just, I love them, and they're just great guys, and Cody has really coached me a lot over the past year and a half on iRacing, and I just can't thank him enough for it.
Well, always a pleasure talking to you, man. Hope to see you do well in the feature event, and hopefully you survive out there today.
All right, thank you, James.
And up next, we've got one more with Kenneth McCullough Jr., the Georgia native in the 03 machine, able to survive here today. Kenneth, you read me, bud?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Kenneth, that was a rough one for a lot of people involved, but you're able to bring it home at the end. What was the strategy there at the end?
Man, I was just trying to see what we needed to do for the big one. I hated to get into Jay right there. I'm very sorry to get into him. I got him at a bad angle there coming out the corner, trying to give him a hell of a push. But, man, the racing was pretty intense there. Fun.
Now, how do you think is that going to be indicative of what we see for the feature tonight? You think people are going to take it easy till we have 10 laps to go, or is it going to be 3 wide on lap 1?
I think you're going to see a lot of aggressiveness right at the beginning of the race. It should smooth out about halfway and then probably get back to 3, so maybe 4 wide at the end of this thing.
Now, Ken, I guess my final question for you, we have one fast repair for these races. Do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing, and it leads to overall cleaner or worse racing?
I'm torn in between it. I'd hate to get crashed on lap 2 and not be able to finish the race, so I'm all for the one fast repair there, that's for sure.
Well, hopefully you're not going to need it in the main event. Kenneth, always a great time talking to you, man. Good to be back, and hope to see you do well in the feature event. Before I let you sign off, who do I give a thanks to for helping you win that heat race here today?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Brad there for helping me there at the end. He was giving me a hell of a push. Thank Jeff for putting this thing on, and thank you for doing a hell of a job on the broadcast.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Great time talking to you.
Yes, sir. See you in the big show.
And that is first place and overall winner, Kenneth McCullough Jr. But now I've got 2 fan favorites. We've got Jay Dargan and Jose Medina joining me in the booth here today for a little bit of a halftime show. 2 of the favorite guys I have the pleasure of broadcasting as well. We've got Mike. Mike, I don't know if I've met you before. Oh, Mike, don't be shy. You joined the broadcast booth. You got to say something. Jay.
And how'd he win, man? He left as quick as he showed up, man, like a bad habit.
Well, Jay, Jose, it's been too long since I've had the pleasure of talking to you. So, first of all, welcome to a little bit of the impromptu halftime show we're doing here today. What have you guys been doing in the offseason? It's so rare for us to have weeks off, and now all of a sudden we're back out here again with the FEG PC guys.
Well, my off season from FEG was spent in the desert doing desert racing on our quad, and Jose spent his time painting.
Yeah, painting and doing a little bit of construction, doing some tile on my master bedroom. If you can't make your wife happy, you better,
Get a new one.
Well, I mean, so we have one of our usual racers spending a whole lot of money and our other favorite racer making a bunch of money in the off-season. Have you guys been practicing at all or just too busy with life to get back out of the virtual raceway?
Yeah, James, I was in the real-life racing world with our desert team, and We ran the bike, and then we also got a 1600 truck that we ran as well. So 500 miles in the desert for the Vegas to Reno race on the quad, and then 300 miles just last week in the Vora Urington 300. And so we've been busy with that stuff, putting our equipment back together after the desert beats the hell out of it, and then moving on to the next one. We got one more race in Cedar City, Utah, and that'll wrap up the season. Then we're gonna really kind of knuckle down. We're building another a UTV for next year as well for the Pro Turbo class, and so hopefully we can get that running in the Best in the Desert. Maybe go take on the Baja 500 and some of the bigger events. The Mint 400 and things like that as well.
Well, that'd be really cool. We might have to fly out and watch some of those because I'm a big fan of racing, virtual or real life stuff. Now, Jose, I know you're talking about the construction, the tile work, and just making fistfuls of money. Did you do anything else fun in the off season leading back up to segment 3?
No, just enjoying life, enjoying retirement, and that construction, putting tile on the floor, and doing painting. Oh my God, that is work.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is not an easy job. That's coming from one of the I guess a younger guy such as myself. Now, have you done any official iRacing lobbies, or you just kind of stick to the FEGPC.net series whenever you run?
Yeah, FEG and and a couple lobbies, but official lobbies, but not too much because I've been so busy trying to get stuff done before FEG starts back up. So I'm back here.
Oh, always a pleasure.
James, the guy didn't do shit, man, when he was working. And now
sir,
he's not working.
This is a family show, Jay. Jose's the only other one who's cursed on here. Dial it back, sir.
Yeah, I was a supervisor. I was a supervisor. You're a supervisor. I could be a supervisor too.
I know it. To all those Virgineers out there that heard me say poop,
yeah,
I do apologize.
We got Ernie and Bert in the booth with me here today.
James, you're always a good time, my friend. This is great fun.
Well, Jay, always a great time talking to both of you. And we're going to drag one other driver in here, but thank you guys both for your time and helping me with this impromptu halftime show here today.
James, as always, man, thanks for what you do, man. Appreciate it. I want to give a shout-out, one quick shout-out to all of our military veterans, no matter the branch. I drive for the Marines because I am a Marine, but to all of you guys that may be watching or listening in on this, thank you for your service. Appreciate everything you do, and please stay safe.
Well spoken, my friend, and thank you to both of you guys for always. Jose, go ahead, man.
Yeah, me too. To my all my family and across the border in Mexico, Tecate y arriba.
Well spoken, even though I didn't understand half of it. Thank you guys, as always. It's always a great time talking to you, and hope to see you do well at the feature event here today.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Always a pleasure. That was Jay Dargan and Jose Medina, two absolute characters. We've got Tony Kivett joining me in the booth. Tony, you got your ears on?
Yes, sir.
Now, Tony, were you involved in that Heat 2 bloodbath, or were you able to watch that one from the sidelines?
I was in there at the last. No, I was actually in the first heat.
Well, that was a little tough one for me to remember.
Rack,
how did you do in Heat 1?
I don't know what I was running, but I got caught up in that last wreck on the last lap. Just didn't get through there.
Now, so were you able to make the show, or is that going to be an early night in the hauler for you?
That's an early night in the hauler. I finished 22nd, and they took 20.
Oh, Tony, so close. Well, I guess the good news is we're still taking 3 drivers in the main event, so stick around. You may make it. Nobody knows at this point. Now, Tony, have you raced with us here at FEG PC?
No, sir. It's my first race with y'all.
Well, welcome to the bloodbath. It's not normally like this. It seems to me, again, this is a broadcaster's point of view. I'm not a race control guy, but by any stretch of the imagination, it seems like it's one of the few races we've had where it's been more of a public accessible race instead of the normal closed off private stuff we do that maybe lend itself to a little bit more aggressive racing than we've seen in the past. But is that what you expected coming in here today for your season debut, or what was your expectations?
My expectations were just try to run clean and get in the top 20 at the end. I mean, I know Daytona. We all race here.
Yeah, it seems like kind of a draft battle, or not draft battle, excuse me, a draft lottery, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Yes. Well, there was a guy really blinking bad in that first heat race, and we were back there with him, and he was all over the place. He'd blink in, blink out. You really didn't know where he was, so you really couldn't get aggressive. But it's all good. I had a good time.
Well, awesome. Are we going to see you run any more races here for the Truck Series, or are you going to?
Yes, I might get in some more.
Awesome, man. Well, looking forward to
Sometime.
talking to you. And now, Tony, I know it wasn't the night you wanted, but you do get the TV time. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout-out to here today before we let you sign off and maybe go watch the rest of the calamity that's about to follow?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to get a shout-out to FEG PC personally, because, I mean, I've got a computer from him last year and have had not one bit of problems with it. Excellent PC builder, great customer service. And I also like to give a shout out to my teammates that I have, Drinking Bros Racing. We race in quite a few leagues together, and we have always have a good time.
Now, Tony, did any of your teammates qualify here today, or were you the only driver representing the team?
Michael Newbraw. He actually finished 20th right in front of me in the first race.
Well, bittersweet, my friend, but glad you're able to make something out of it with the team, and hope to see you do well the rest of the season. And again, welcome to the family, man. Glad to have you.
All right, I appreciate it.
You're
Y'all
very
have a
welcome,
good race
sir.
tonight.
That was Tony Kibbett, not having the night he really wanted here today, but able to kind of still have a lot of fun with all the knuckleheads here at the FEG PC.net Racing Series. We've got time for one more driver interview. I believe it's going to be Tyler Evans that hops in the booth here with us. But we'll see if we can grab him here shortly. And again, while we have a moment, thank you all so much for tuning in today. We're doing a bit of an impromptu halftime show as we get ready for the final feature race of the night. But now we've got Tyler the Weapon Evans joining us in the booth, the number 15 machine. Tyler, how is your night going out there, my friend?
It's been a lot of fun so far. Unfortunately, we got caught up in a pretty big wreck there on the last lap, but we're having a blast out here. We're ready for the main feature.
Now, Tyler, I believe this is your first time with the FEG PC guys, and we don't normally see you run the trucks. How was your first impressions coming out here into a bit of a bloodbath?
I've definitely been in some worse bloodbaths at Daytona. It wasn't too bad, so these trucks are a lot of fun to drive. There's a lot of good drivers in this series, and I think it's going to make for a great season. I look forward to it.
Now, Tyler, you mentioned you've been involved in some other bloodbaths before. Is that how you got the nickname The Weapon, or is that from something else?
Stay tuned and find out, I guess.
Very well spoken, my friend. Tyler, do you have any plans going into the race tonight? I know you've got one teammate with Spencer Breslin joining you out there with the Team Goon Squad back trucks, but do you guys have any sort of strategy to try and survive the main event, or is it just going to show up, lick the stamp, and send it?
75 laps is a pretty long race at Daytona, so we're going to probably try to stay towards the back early on and just work our way through the pack, be really patient, stay out of trouble, and hopefully by the checkered flag, we'll be up there at the front.
Well, Tyler, always a great time talking to my friend. Hope you do well in the feature event, and hopefully you put it up there towards the front with a clean race truck, and thank you so much for your time. But before I just sign off, who would I like to give a shout-out to out there that may be supporting you behind the scenes?
Big shout-out to my wife. She's always right behind me, spotting me, and she gets into it just as much as I do. It's great. So, and big shout-out to my teammates with Team Goon Squad and Cornerstone Motorsports. Everybody watching from home in Waynesville.
Well, always a great time talking to you, my friend. Hope to see you do well for the main event. And again, thank you for tuning in with us, man. We greatly appreciate you.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good night.
You as well. And that was Tyler Evans making the cut in the second heat race of the night. Getting a bit of a DQ there at the end with the shorter points limit we have. We're going to take a quick commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to put on one of our starting soon scenes. Maybe play you some nice soft jazz in the background as we get ready for the session to go up for the main event. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more door-to-door action. Welcome back, race fans, as we're here for the main event of the FEG PC Daytona 75. It's going to be 75 laps around the Super Speedway as we get ready to grid them up for the final time here today. We're going to take a look at tonight's grid and see who's where. It's a randomized grid here today. We're going to try and get rid of that ticker there. There we go. We got Tristan Bailey starting up front. Michael J. Johnson starting second. Jose Medina, number 24, starting third. Matt Lee starting fourth. Brad Herman will be starting fifth on tonight's grid. Cody McCauley starting sixth. Adam Schoen starting seventh. Christopher Carter starting eighth. Ryan Travers starting ninth. Stephen Page starting 10th. Charles Mullen starting 11th. Chad Rawson starting 12th on tonight's grid. Jim Duda starting 13th. Jody Hogan starting 14th. David Emig starting 15th. Charles Griffin starting 16th. Big D starting 17th. Jeffrey Radke 18th. Michael Newbrow starting 19th. Eric Park starting 20th. Kenneth Mccullough Jr. starting 21st. Cale Stevens starting 22nd. Austin Reedy starting 23rd. Martin starting 24th here today. Second back a little bit further, you got Jay Dargan starting 25th. Matthew Curry 26th. John Olitz starting 27th. Jeremy Kors starting 28th. Travis Anderson starting 29th. Tyler Evans starting 30th. John Mullahan starting 31st. Craig Aravinetti starting 32nd. Casey Solatek starting 33rd. CJ Mason starting 34th here today. Spencer Breslin starting 35th. Brad Bothwell starting 36th. Then you got Robert Charette starting 37th. William Lothar starting 38th. James Kaufman starting 39th. And Buddy Pitts rounding out our 40-truck grid here today for the season opener, the main event of the FEG PC Truck Series. We are on segment 3 of their normally scheduled league events. And as always, thank you so much that tunes in each and every week, supporting your favorite drivers, your favorite broadcaster at your favorite league. We couldn't do without you, and we absolutely appreciate all the drivers and fans that like the video, as well as subscribing to the Team Goon Squad channel, so you never miss a bit of action out here. As we get ready for the pace car to come in, it's going to be Bailey and Johnson, your front row. And we are going to let the green flag fly here at Daytona. 75 laps, 65% fuel. And a whole lot of drivers making their way out of the drivers that joined. It appears a few opted to start from pit road, I believe. Robert Charette, William Lothar, James Kaufman, Buddy Pitts, Matt Lee, I believe all started from pit road. As up front, it's going to be Michael Johnson. Now Cody McCauley is going to eke his way into second place, following behind Johnson, trying to get that outside line working. He gives a bit of a bump to the number 39 to try and move him up the racetrack just a little bit further. It is very early on into a longer race for these guys, so nobody's going to want to push too hard too early. We're expecting the fuel window to be around 20 laps here today, so it should be about a 4-stop race, but let's see how the cautions may play a factor. As we put up another poll in the chat, let us know, are we going to have a good green flag run tonight? Or is it going to be a race punctuated with cautions? We saw Heat 1 go very well with only 2 cautions throughout the thing, and then Heat 2 was a bit of a bloodbath for our drivers, as we saw several drivers constantly finding themselves getting collected out on track. As it looks to be right now, for the most part, everybody taking it pretty easy. Nobody wanted to push 3 wide early on. We talked to some of the teams before this season, this main event, to see what do you think is going to happen here. Is it going to be good, clean racing? Or are they going to send it immediately? And kind of overall, the general consensus was that guys are going to play nice and easy early on and maybe shake things up later on. We had a couple drivers think that we might see a few early cautions, clean out some of the drivers that may get collected in this, and then it might go back to green flag racing. But as we click off the 4th lap, it seems like the guys are doing a great job out on track And what an absolute massive pack of driver. Now I think you're going to see some of the drivers hanging back towards the rear, not wanting to get involved with any incidents here. As I believe Matt Lee, Jose Medina may have not making it out on track. Not sure what they had going on. 4 drivers showing as not gridding and not making out on track. As up front, it is still Bailey and Johnson battling side by side for the lead. It looks like that inside line gets a bit of a run here. So Brad Herman will move up into second place, number 85 Chevrolet, but for how long? As Johnson has been getting some great runs on that outside line. As, oh, Johnson has a bit of a big blink there. As what a massive field here today. We had 40 drivers enter. It looks like we have 36 on track right now. As Lothar has a bit of internet problems with the number 47 machine. Hopefully he's able to correct that as the race progresses. Such a talented Canadian out on track. Just we'd love to see him out there racing, and hopefully doesn't have any worries out here today. Michael J. Johnson leading the charge still on that outside line. And the number 39 machine, he's accompanied by, I believe that's going to be Tristan Bailey. So Bailey shows 19 on live time and scoring, but he's running the number 24 on his race truck. So I'm not sure if he has the wrong transponder or what may have happened here. For the most part, not a lot of changes in the lineup. Most of the guys taking it pretty easy early on, not wanting to push too hard too early and maybe risk the night or somebody else's night. As these guys are doing a great job. Johnson out front, he's got a 5,800 I rating. You've got Cody McCullough about 4,600, then Jody Hogan, he's got 1,200. So good to see some of the guys out here that maybe don't run official lobbies that much, but they found a great home at FEGPC.net. The lead provider of custom-built desktops with the sim enthusiast in mind, be it iRacing, Microsoft Flight Sim, DCS, or any high-intensity rig needs. You can check it out, FEGPC.net. They've got custom builds all the time, and they can work you up your own custom solution. So check them out, FEGPC.net, tonight's title sponsor. Some of the guys are taking it pretty easy as Michael J. Johnson and Cody McCullough running that inside line, as well as Tristan Bailey. That outside line may be losing a little bit of steam. I believe that's going to be Jody Hoke trying to charge his way up. Hoke currently in third place with live time and scoring. As man, oh man, Michael Johnson dipping way down the racetrack. And look at the run that Hoke has on the outside line, the 322. As now he's going to dip to the inside line ahead of Michael J. Johnson. And David Emick, the number 2 machine, he's going to be left alone on the outside line. But you know, he's got support from Cale Seaman, number 17. Seaman is up 18 spots here today. As now it is going to be Hoke and Emick running side by side out front. They've also got Michael J. Johnson, Cale Seaman as their pushers trying to project their way up to the front as we're going to go on board with Cody McCullough. Currently 4th on track behind, I believe that's going to be Michael J. Johnson. And very impressed with the drivers we have out here. Quite the grid. Again, we've had 35 drivers make it out on track. Out of the 40 that were originally slotted, again, these guys went through 2 heat races to get here, with the top 20 in each race advancing. And there was also 3 lucky participants, but the caution will come out for the first time, as I don't see where the crash was. And the entire field will have to check up here to allow that iRacing pace car back around the majority of the field. So I believe that's going to be Jody Hogan and David Emig. That'll be your race leaders at the time with the caution lights coming on here at Daytona. And while we have a moment of caution, we're going to run a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, race fans. The entirety of the field did come in under caution for, it looks like, just a quick splash off of fuel. And we were not able to decipher what brought out the first caution here today. I'm not sure if somebody had a minor hiccup and the caution came out. And that's one of the interesting things about iRacing is with the built-in flag system, sometimes they get it absolute perfect and they call it right as an incident happens, and sometimes they call an incident prematurely that maybe doesn't warrant the caution flag being thrown. And sometimes they egregiously miss something and still don't throw a caution. So it's a give and a take here with the iRacing built-in officials, but the entire the field came in. I don't believe anybody took 4 tires there. Everybody opting for just fuel, maybe 2 tires. But that will bring out the first caution in this 75-lap main event. Again, this is the opening round for the FEG PC Segment 3 series. As the race stats have been reset for all of our competitors. As this is actually race 21 of the season. No, excuse me, 22 of the season. But they divide their season into segments so everybody able to get back out here, battle for points, and the big prizes at the end of it. There's some big money on the line for the FEG PC races. I believe the champion can win up to $1,500 at the tail end of this season. They pay out first through third, as well as, I believe, a random, if not multiple random drivers also eligible for a cash reward. It's going to be Michael Johnson, Cale Seaman in your front row, followed by Cody McCullough, Tristan Bailey, and then David Emig and John Olett making up our third row here today as we get ready for our first restart of the night. As the pace car will be in this time by. And let's see what Johnson and Seaman can do out front as we get ready to send them back out. Again, the fuel window is about 20 laps for these competitors, judging from what we saw in the heat race. As away we go, the green flag flies. And look at that. Seaman and Bailey trying to make something happen on the outside early on, trying to get around Johnson in the number 39 machine. It is Toyota running 1, 2, and 3, followed by a few Chevrolets, and then our lone Ford back in 7th inside the top 10. Representing the different manufacturers here today for the FEG PC.net Truck Series. What an absolute massive field here today. McCullough dips down to the inside line to take over first place ahead of Seaman John Olett, still holding on number 62 machine, running that high side. He's accompanied by David Imig in number 2 as well. So let's see what line's starting to form up and who's going to draft with who's going to try and push their friends up towards the front. As everybody pushing hard here early on, we are only 15 laps into the main event. It is a 75-lap race. And everybody trying to get up front early on, but not wanting to risk it too much. As look at this, here comes Olett, number 62 machine, with a good hearty push from David Imig. Not quite able to make the drive that they wanted in the core. That's going to allow McCullough to hold on to the lead here for at least one more lap. But Olett is pushing hard on that outside line, trying to get it working. Look at that, nose to tail. As you're on board with David Imig in number 2 machine. You can see just how white knuckle it is here at Daytona. Nobody wanted to lift, everybody trying to find a dance partner and push their way up to the very front. As you're on the rear bumper of John Olett, man, look at that view. That is David Imig's number 2 Chevrolet pushing hard here at Daytona. Trying to get their way up to the front. And my, look at that absolute massive field here today. One of the biggest grids we've seen for the FEG Truck Series. Hoping that all of the season is this exciting with such talented racers. This is plate racing at its best, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what I'm looking forward to as a broadcaster and a racer myself is the green flag pit stops. This is one of my favorite things to see. It allows the drivers to show their ability on and off the track as far as strategizing goes. Now, if the heat races are any indicator, we'll see the pit window open around lap 31 for these competitors, maybe 31 to 35. I think is the estimated pit window here today. As they are still side by side, wide open around Daytona. It's Olett and McCullough still going back and forth here. But they've got a lot of very talented drivers behind them, pushing them up towards the front. As far as a randomized grid, though, I mean, this couldn't really go any better for some of the guys. With the 2 heat races tonight, it was a very busy night for broadcasters and race control alike, making sure the absolute best show gets put on. And the drivers are doing their due diligence as well, doing everything they can on and off the track to push their friends up towards the front. As that inside line looks like able to carry just a little bit more speed. That outside line really has to work. As you're watching Olett, the number 62 machine, he's now side by side with Seaman. Seaman's currently technically second on track right now, but I mean, these guys are door to door, bumper to bumper, lap after lap. And really everybody inside the top 10 is very experienced, with most of the guys over a 2,000 iRating, showing that they're not just league racers. They go on the iRacing official service as well, which can be a bit daunting at times. A lot of drivers will come to a private league such as FEG PC to run their truck series, where the racing's a little bit cleaner and you have the luxury of running with the same guys each and every week. We're going to check a little bit further back in the field here. So we check on fan favorite Jay Dargan, number 57 machine. He's currently 32nd on track. Now Dargan just picked up a new sponsor with No Quarter Innovations. That is his own company that they'll be producing polymer 80% lowers for rifles, pistols, and other cool guys' accessories. So good to see Dargan representing the new sponsor well and riding around with a bunch of friends. He's right behind John Mullahan and ahead of Kaufman, Medina, Curry, Ross. A bunch of guys we're used to seeing each and every week. So those are guys that are going to be running together and kind of banking on a late race caution. As right now, that pack of drivers, they're about 18 seconds back, I believe. These guys doing an absolute fantastic job out front, really not having any worries or issues. Everybody charging hard. As it is still McCauley and Olette out front. Charles Griffin, number 5 machine, he's up 3 spots, working his way into 13th. And that is one of those things with running with such a big series, such as the FEG PC Truck Series, is that some of these guys aren't out here battling for a win or a top 3. They're ecstatic to be able to run with such talented racers. No matter where you're on the track here today, you've always got somebody to race with. So be it up front, be it towards the back, you've always got friends to kind of battle it out with. And I think, in my opinion, that's what makes the league session so much fun. You get to race with the same guys each and every week. You know who you can drive hard with, who you kind of got to give maybe a little bit more space, and this makes it, I think, an all-around better experience for everybody out on track. It does not appear that anybody's trying to make any moves here early on. They're going to try and cycle through the first window. We're going to check on Matt Lee in the 04 machine. Lee currently 28th on track here today. Lee's been a very strong finisher all season long. Out of segment 2, out of 10 races, he has a 70% win ratio, winning 7 out of 10 races here today. As he dives into pit lane a little bit early, maybe going for a bit of an undercut. It'll be interesting to see how that works out for Lee in the 04 machine. Now here's a pretty cool tidbit. Jody Hogan, number 322, the Ford F-150 driver. He's currently 9th on track. He actually just joined the iRacing service since May of this year, and he's got his son, Trevor, joining in here, cheering him on from the sidelines. So very cool to see the entire family involved in tonight's event. So keep an eye on Jody Hogan, number 322, as he's inside the top 10. for his debut in this series. Another few drivers look out for the MTC Esports guys making their first appearance for the Truck Series. The number 28, the 85, the 11, the 48, all trying to link up here and maybe work together. And that's one of those things with this randomized grid for tonight, is it really did not allow teams to link up like they would have really planned to and try and work together. I know several teams that we talked to kind of on the commercial break that were originally planning on qualifying together, not qualifying so they could link up and run, and kind of got thrown out the window there as we did the randomized grid. So going to be interesting to see how the team factor comes into play and how long it takes for those teams to link up and start hot lapping together. It looks to me like this is going to be one of those races that may have to see a lot of pit strategy come into play. Now that very first caution we had, it appeared most drivers only took fuel. Some drivers may have taken 2 tires. But almost universally, nobody took 4 tires in that first pit stop on lap 11 after that early caution. Yeah, we're still not even quite sure what brought out the caution for that event. My guess is it was a minor slide by one of our competitors that brought out the built-in iRacing caution, but we'll have to check on that later on in the race. As we are still 2 wide, about 9-10 rows deep here at Daytona. But it's great to see everybody out there running strong again. Jody Hogan, even better, a Georgia native. Run the Georgia Bulldogs paint scheme. Can't quite tell what that rear sponsor was. But great to see him out here in his season debut, doing a great job, running very strong. And again, a top 9, a top 10, and with this this absolutely stacked field, quite an accomplishment. As we're kind of keeping an eye on the middle of the field here, that is where things can get very exciting very quickly, as we've seen in the past. And that's one of the good and the bad things about play racing here, is kind of hard to make any moves and try and progress your way up towards the front when there's just so much traffic. Nobody wants to go 3 wide too early on the run. And again, we're expecting that fuel window to open up in about 2 to 5 laps for most of our competitors. As we check in on our race leader, it's still John Ouellette, Cody McCullough going side by side, putting on a great show. We are going to close that vote because, in fact, we did not go green tonight with that lap 11 caution. But overall, I've got to say, as a broadcaster, I'm extremely impressed. We brought together 40 people, maybe about 20 of which have never raced with each other before, and able to come out here and put on a very spectacular show here for the Segment 3 debut. I mean, these guys have got to be proud. We're not quite at the halfway mark, but these guys really showing how to drive these machines around here. Not making any big moves and trying to risk anything too early on. It's going to be interesting to see how McCullough and Ouellette finish towards the end of the run here. We're going to check on something here real briefly. So Ouellette has not raced with us so far this season. McCullough has run 4 races so far this season. Out of his 4 starts, he had 1 win, which was at Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. That was all the way back on July 12th. So good to see McCullough out there, number 30 machine, back out here and racing a little bit more often with his friends in the Truck Series. fuel window should be opening up for these drivers. It's going to be interesting to see who's the first ones to dive down pit lane under green flag conditions. In our heat races, we saw competitors come in around that lap 20 mark. So it'll be interesting to see what the strategy is, or if they're going to try and make it to lap 35 or maybe 38, trying to stretch out the laps just a little bit. I don't think we're going to be able to see him stretch out to lap 38. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody can make it a one more stop race, or if we're going to have to see some pit strategy come into play here at Daytona. The top 12 drivers kind of in a clump of their own there. Jody Hogan, he's currently at the back of the pack in the number 322. Chased by the number 78, a Big D. And the field pretty scattered out behind. Gotta say, very cool to see so many guys come into the league for the first time, put on a great show. These guys here today are running a 65% fuel allotment, so not running the full 100%. But everybody out there doing a great job here today. Now, I believe the race, oh, we got a little bit of scattering going on. That almost got exciting very quickly. Oh, what was that? Was that the number 17 machine? Kale absolutely sent it into pit road. My goodness. So lap 34, a large portion of the field dives in. About 23 laps after the first pit stop, Michael J. Johnson stays out, along with Tristan Bailey, Jim Duda, D. Kors, Austin Reedy, Travis Anderson, Michael Newbrough, Jeffrey Radke, all staying out. So now we're going to see the pit strategy develop, as I believe that was Bailey dives into pit lane. Johnson still staying out, accompanied from Jim Duda and Jeremy Kors. Your top three still stretching out as long as they possibly can. All these drivers came in on lap 11 under caution. As now you're going to have a little bit of lap traffic to contend with, as well as drivers on different tire strategies. Number 26 tries to go to the inside to allow the race leaders by. Jim Duda almost gets into him, having to drop down all the way on the apron. And Jeremy Kors is able to still stay with the race leader as well. Ooh, this has the potential to be very exciting. This is where things can get very hairy on track, as now the race leaders are going to dive into pit lane. And I believe Tristan Bailey still has not pitted, as well as D in the number 78 machine. So I believe that's going to allow Tristan Bailey, I believe, to take over the race lead here as we get ready to cross the halfway mark. It'll be Bailey, Olette. Look at Olette go, who is linked up with Cody McCauley. Those guys are hammering down here today, both running 62 on their trucks. It's Olette in the orange and white with Cody McCauley right behind them being the pusher. As the two teammates have finally linked up and are able to charge hard, as they are going to quickly take over the race lead from Michael J. Johnson and Jeremy Kors, who came out of pit lane together. And they've got about a 1 second gap over Tristan Bailey in third. Bailey in the number 19 machine with lifetime and scoring. His truck shows 24. Now it does not show Bailey as pitting yet in the number 19 machine, or the number 24, excuse me. Not sure if that is accurate or not. But it's going to be John Olette, Cody McCullough out front, running very strong. Again, Olette, a newcomer here to the series. You guys are able to do about 22 laps under green, so really about 21, not counting the pacing laps. So we're expecting one more stop from those drivers around that lap 55 mark here today. That should give them enough to go to the end and possibly account for a green-white checker attempt, which is going to be hopefully not the case. We've had one green flag stop completed. Hopefully we can get another one done, as I do love broadcasting green flag races, allowing all these guys to showcase what they've got out there today. I believe that's going to be Matt Lee in the 04 machine, possibly going a lap down here. As now, here comes Michael J. Johnson, who's pushing, I think that's Matt Lee, who's a lap down, up towards the front. Now, Johnson and Lee are not teammates. No, I take that back. They are teammates. So Matt Lee is a lap down the 04 machine, maybe trying to help his teammate get up towards the front and stay on the lead lap, trying to get that lucky dog position in his 04. And you may see his teammate Michael J. Johnson try and swing around the outside line to make something happen. But I think right now Lee is just hoping for a caution from further back in the field to get himself back in the lead lap comfortably, as he is trying his best to stay on the lead lap here. And it is about half a bumper keeping him on the lead lap. 35 laps left to go in the main event for the FEG PC Daytona 75. Thank you to everybody that tuned in from the beginning or midway through and able to help us out and support, that have liked the channel and subscribed to the Team Good Squad channel. We greatly appreciate you so much. Keep an eye on the channel as we'll be posting some more real-life racing footage very, very soon. And we are looking forward to covering the entirety of the Segment 3 event here. These guys are putting on quite a show. It is 6 drivers in the lead pack here. They have to go back about 6 seconds to the second pack, where it's Austin Reedy, Michael Newbraw, Brad Herman, Jim Duda, Charles Griffin, Christopher Carter, William Lothar, Adam Schoen, Craig Arvanettis, Jeffrey Radke, Travis Anderson, Cale Seaman, all running in this big old Congo line of drivers. And they're doing their best to work their way up that 6-second gap, as up front they're still going side by side. So if our race leaders aren't mindful, you're going to see a freight train of drivers running single file, punching through air and making up some rapid time here. As that second pack of drivers, they're about 1/10 of a second a lap faster than your lead pack. Just trying to get their way back up there before we have that second fuel stop of the night. And as Mike Kinzel says, I hope I said that right, by the way, Mike. If not, my apologies. As Mike said, great clean racing all across the board here today. We had that one kind of mysterious caution fly, and other than that, just really great racers showing what it takes to run fast each and every week. I am very optimistic. If this is any sign of what the rest of the season is going to look like, I am extremely excited up here in the broadcast booth. As you're on board with Jeremy Kors, the number 97 machine, who's following their race leader, Michael J. Johnson, and accompanied by Matt Lee, who is again a lap down on that inside line. But here comes Tristan Bailey trying to get that outside line, working with John Olett, as they will be side by side, crossing the start finish line here at Talladega and careening through their final quarters and going back out. These guys doing a great job, and really that second pack of drivers hasn't gained a whole lot of time, as now Charles Griffin leading that pack of drivers, and they're about 7.6 seconds back from that next pack at the tail end with Cody McCauley. As now it appears that the lead pack of drivers looking like they're going to get back single file as well. Got Ryan and Diane Lothar cheering on. William Lothar up to 13th place. Currently 14th on track, but our favorite fast Canadian doing a great job as always. He's up 24 spots, but unfortunately he is battling a little bit of a connectivity issue. We've seen him plagued by that with the pass, number 47, so hopefully it gets corrected. We love watching him out front and charging hard. If that second pack catches up, it's going to be very, very exciting, as the speed difference could be very, very drastically different. But as it stands, I think the lead pack is going to go back to single file and try and get through their fuel window here. We're expecting about 10 more laps before they absolutely have to come in once more. These guys keeping it very, very clean. You're watching the number 62 machine of John Olett. Again, he's up 22 positions. But let's talk about Jeremy Kors, the newcomer to the series, and the number 97. He is up 26 spots here today, working his way all the way up to second. That is quite of a run, ladies and gentlemen. There's that second pack of cars freight training their way around the racetrack. Again, they're about 9 seconds back now, so not able to make the time up in the lead pack that they really wanted to. That's currently led by Johnson, Kors, D, Bailey, Olett, McCauley in that lead pack of 6 drivers. The end to cycle back to 7th place. We got Seaman, Griffin, Reedy, Duda, Herman, Lothar, Schoen, Arvanettes, Evans, all running together here. And something else that I am thankful for here, we have not seen the iRacing hiccups that we saw earlier on the week. iRacing pushed out a bunch of new updates throughout the week in the Week 13 silly season, and there's a lot of different leagues that we covered and races that I myself was involved in with massive disconnects, so able to maybe get it back under control, so well done. We want to see the racers race and maybe not see that dreaded iRacing rain delay when a large portion of the field drops. We're going to cycle it back to 7th place. This is the battle for 7th between Seaman and Reedy. And as the camera pans, you're going to see a lot of drivers behind them trying to catch up, but these guys not making any time here. They're still 9.3 seconds back from the last truck on that lead pack, which is Cody McCauley and the number 30 machine. So these guys are going to have to try and pull something off, maybe under that green flag stop that's coming up, to try and pick up a couple more spots. As you're right on board with Austin Reed's number 11 machine chasing Stevens' number 17 Toyota Tundra. Everybody keeping it nice and clean all the way around the track, not trying to press any issues early on. But as we get ready to go, 25 laps left to go, you got to wonder, is this second pack of drivers going to have anything left in reserve to try and get their way up to the point? But the good news is if they are out here running for points, they are not having the worst night here today. Anytime you can score a top 10 at a season opener at a track such as Daytona is, I would say, a pretty good evening, all things considered. We're going to take a look at the live timing and scoring tower on the left side of your screen and give you a good look at where your favorite driver is at. "26 laps left to go. The fuel window is about to open up for the final time. We're going to see how far Johnson, Coors, D, Bailey, Olette, your top 5 drivers, can stretch it out here. Every lap that they can stay out improves their chances later on the run to make something happen. But I don't think anybody wants to be the driver that commits to pit lane and finds himself all alone. You want to come in and come out with friends so you have somebody to draft with. This top 6 pack of drivers has been dominant, able to pull on the rest of the field from 7th place back. Again, they've extended that lead. Right now, for Michael Johnson, your race leader is 7th place. Cale Seaman, it is a 9, let's call it a 10-second difference for these drivers. 25 laps left to go for the season opener. And no one's showing any signs of slowing down or wanting to risk it early. I believe it's going to be after this final fuel stop that you may see some 2-3 wide action. As up front, they're just clicking off laps. So again, the last time most of these guys came in was lap 35. Which was technically 24 laps since their last pit stop, counting the pace laps. So I believe in probably the next lap, if not the next 2 laps, you're going to see Johnson lead everybody down pit road for the final time. Maybe take 2 tires and a little bit of fuel. But it's going to be very interesting to see what the pit strategy is. 23 laps left to go for our race leaders. We're going to check on the second pack, who's found a bit of time here. And they have gained down to about 8.7 seconds over your race leaders. Now, I'm not sure if that is a sign that the second pack of drivers is finding some more speed, or if the lead pack is maybe checking up a little bit, doing a little bit of fuel saving to make the pit strategy work best for them. We know Johnson out front, someone that's run so many different races here for all the FEG PC series, is very smart when it comes to strategy. We're going to cycle back to Johnson up front, number 39 Toyota, just so we can keep an eye on when that pit stop strategy finally happens. As we've seen some drivers absolutely careen it in a pit road in different races, and we've seen several races won or lost on pit lanes, which will be interesting to keep an eye out on. As I don't believe we had any speeding penalties here today. .22 laps left to go. I'd expect any minute now we're going to see Johnson come down pit road for his final pit stop. That would be very interesting to see who all follows in suit. But no, they're all going to stay out one more time. Hopefully we don't see a final caution, throw a wrench in things, because these guys have been doing a great job. Only one caution here today, and so far drivers really holding on to it well. With so many new faces joining for the first time for segment 3, it's kind of a toss-up on what you're going to see out on track. Are you going to see good green racing, or are you going to see maybe a bit of cautions as drivers get used to each other? It's always a mixed bag, but I got to say, these guys are doing a fantastic job. Got a lot of drivers coming to pit lane for their final stop. I'd imagine Johnson will be here shortly. As no, Johnson stays out. So it's going to be Johnson, Coors, D, Bailey, Olette, your top 5 drivers opting to stay out here today. Laps left to go for our competitors for the season opener. We had somebody ask, is it going to be a gas and go? Is there going to be a take tires as well? And it looks like the pit lane times that we're seeing, most drivers are opting for just fuel or possibly 2 tires. As now Johnson brings out a pit lane, we're going to keep an eye on Johnson, see what he decides to do. I think at most you'll see Johnson take 2 tires and a little bit of gas. As you're watching Johnson, trying to get a good angle at him. Oh, come on. So yes, we do have some drivers taking 2 tires to get back out there. Only Jeremy Coors, number 97, I believe, took 4 tires to 4 fresh Goodyears and a full tank of gas. And I believe that's still going to have Johnson as your race leader as he makes his way back out on track. The rest of the field following in suit. Johnson in his pit box for 12.08 seconds, a total pit lane time of 37.43. Again, the only driver I believe that might have taken 4 tires was Jeremy Coors, number 97, 6th on track. He was in his box for 15.4 seconds, total pit lane time of 42.33. So everything I've seen in the past, normally a 4-tire stop is around high 14 to low 15-second times. So the guys, the top 4 drivers, 5 drivers taking a 12-second pit lane time, I'd imagine they took 2 tires and fuel, and that is about it. Now we know at this point the drivers can make it all the way in on fuel with only 18 laps left to go. Who's going to be the first one to send it, and who's going to stay in line and play nicely? As Michael J. Johnson's getting pushed by Matt Lee in the 04 machine. Lee is a lap down here at Daytona, but trying to stay in that lucky dog contention or possibly get his lap back. Lee currently 25th as far as position goes. We know he has both the talent and the ability to consistently run up front week in, week out. Again, he had that 70% win ratio, but the Daytona guys just not being as favorable to the 04 of Lee as he was hoping for. But he is a champion every sense of the word, so he's going to try and stay out there, salvage some points, and see what he can pull off here. As the race leaders having to put another driver down. That is number 26 of Buddy Pitts. He is currently 26th on track in the number 26. How apt. But the race leaders will get through nice and easy, no problem. That's, you gotta say, that's one of the advantages of being the lead car at a track such as Daytona. Not quite as squirrely to cut through lap traffic such as the track of Darlington or Bristol or Richmond, where it's really, really tough to get through traffic, and it's really tough to beat the traffic getting past. Those other tracks typically one groove, so if you're outside the groove, especially with a tight truck, it can be very hard to hold your line and stay off the line. But Daytona gives these guys a little bit more freedom out there. Great racing up front. We have to cycle a little bit further back, about 15 seconds back to Charles Giffen. He is 7th on track with an absolute massive pack of drivers with him. This is, I don't know, about a 10 truck battle for 7th. As Giffen trying to hold off Adam Schoen, Craig Arvanetti, Jeffrey Radke. As, we may have a caution come out. Austin Reedy involved in an incident. Not seeing the caution come out though. We'll take a quick look at it. Unfortunately, we're not able to catch it, but right in time we come back and we watch Charles Giffen very narrowly avoid an incident here. As these guys are pushing hard. It's Adam Schoen, Charles Giffen, and I believe Jeffrey Radke briefly going 3 wide here. Again, this is the battle for 7th out on track. So some of the guys that are normally out here running up front, trying to salvage some points, and some newcomers finding themselves surrounded by some very talented racers. 13 laps left to go. You're going to start seeing a little bit bigger moves from our competitors trying to get a few more spots here. Up front, it is still Johnson, D, Olette running 1, 2, 3. But this is where all the action is out on track. It is the battle for 7th, as it is Charles Giffen, Adam Schoen going side by side, round and round with no chance of a break. Any lapse in judgment from any of our competitors can quickly cause an absolute massive pile up here. As it is still Giffen and Schoen. It looks like Schoen trying to get that outside line working. Let's see if he can drop down the inside line, or if he's trying to drag somebody with him, as he's getting heavily pushed from the 053 of Jim Duda. Gets a little bit unsorted, but able to hold on to it. Oh, here we go. There it is, the big one. Finally rears its head with 11 laps left to go. Adam Schoen heavily involved with that one. Charles Giffen. And look at this. That is going to be quite the wild ride for Adam Schoen, as well as Giffen. William Lothar involved with that one. The number 85 to 48 also tagged. As everyone scatters to avoid the carnage, but man, oh man, a massive hit for several drivers. Now with 10 laps left to go, are we going to see a final pit stop from Johnson, D, Olette, Bailey, McCauley, all the guys? This could really shake things up. Cautions breed cautions, and with 10 laps left to go, everybody's going to absolutely send it off the get-go. But let's see what the race leader, Michael Johnson, does here. If he's going to take tires or try and stretch it out, valuing track position more than anything. It's going to be a tough gamble, because if a large portion of the guys behind him takes tires and enough fuel to account for a green-white checker, it could be very exciting for the race leader having to fend off so many drivers. I believe Lee will get the lucky dog here as well. But again, that will bring out the second caution with 10 laps left to go. This is that danger zone we were talking about, where things can really, really get shaken up as drivers realize they do not have a whole lot of time to make any more moves. And now Craig, Arvanettes, Anderson, Sawtek, Charette, they come into pit lane. Those guys running about 8th through 11th. Well, this is where you're going to see a few last-minute gambles from drivers to make something happen. So it looks like your race leaders are going to stay out, opting for track position being the most important thing here today. Maybe doing a little bit of fuel saving. So not quite the fuel saving I was expecting out of Johnson. He's one of those guys that may actually cut the truck off, so that's probably a good sign that he's got enough fuel to go to the end and feeling pretty comfortable if we do get into green-white checker conditions. Cautions breed cautions, though, so are we going to see a few more big pileups as now we've stacked the field all back together? As I believe that was Johnson with a little bit of a blink. Your race leader, he's been one of the dominant cars out front all night long. Everybody inside the top 12 is on the same tire strategy except for Craig Arvanettes. And you go 13th place back. A lot of the drivers came in around that lap 65, 66. But here we go for possibly the final time. The pace car is in. It's Michael Johnson. D out front with Olette, Bailey, McCauley, Coors all here in the mix. The final shootout with only 7 laps left to go. There's not a whole lot of more time. Looks like Ouellette's got a bit of a run here. He's getting a hearty shove from the number 78 machine. Michael Johnson, John Ouellette side by side up front. These guys are going to be pushing hard with 6 laps left to go. Who's going to be the first one to step outside the line and maybe try something new? As Johnson holds the inside line with Ouellette on his outside line, trying to hold on here. It's going to be 5 laps to go as they cross the line. If we were ever going to see a massive pileup, the time is coming soon. Who's going to be here for the season opener of the FEG PC Daytona 75, the main event? We've gone through 2 heat races and quite the night to get to this point. Oh, this is about to be a mad dash here at Daytona. With such few laps left, there's not a whole lot of time as the caution comes out once more. There's a massive pileup at the back of the field. I believe several drivers may have gotten disqualified there. And oh no, now we are in mad dash territory, my friends. So I believe this is going to put us in a green-white checker conditions. Does Johnson and Ouellette have enough fuel to get to the end here? Or are they going to be running on fumes at the very end? It's going to be hard to tell. As you can hear Johnson coasting throughout the track, trying to save every single drop he possibly can. So I believe this is going to put us in a green-white checker conditions here. And as one final driver gets possibly the last lucky dog of the night. Now I think it's the opportunity where you may see somebody come out and absolutely yard sale their equipment trying to pick up some final spots. This could be Johnson, Ouellette, McCauley, D, Duda, your top 5 here. I am nervous and excited for this final restart. What feels like more than 3 cautions, but it's only the 3rd caution of the night. So for the most part, the guys have done a fairly decent job holding it together out here. as I believe there's going to be about 20 drivers still on the lead lap for the final restart of the night. Pace car will be in this time by for the final start of the night. Who's it going to be at the end? Is it going to be Johnson, Olette, our two trucks on the front row, or possibly somebody different as the field is once again all put back together? We make our way past the famous Daytona bus stop for the road course. Into turn 3, and then the pace car will dive down pit lane in turn 4. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the final restart of the night where green-white checker attempts. I believe it is only one green-white checker attempt here today. And there we go, it's Johnson Olette out front. Who's going to make it happen here? Who's going to push the issue early on? And who's going to be happy with maybe a top 5, a top 10 finish to try and salvage some points for the season opener? What has been extremely tough. Oh, Olette with a hearty hit. And they're about to start wadding up behind them. An absolute yard sale of an incident. As man, oh man, that was a hit. And that was just absolute dog pile out here today. Look at that. The big one finally came out. And the hits just keep happening as, oh man. Surely they know that once the caution comes out, you're not gaining any positions, right? Because, I mean, that was rough. Driver's still crashing somehow. The hits just keep coming here at Daytona. So I'm trying to get confirmation from race control of how many green-white checker attempts we actually have here today. And I just got confirmation we have 2 green-white checker attempts here for the season opener. So that was our 1. And we're going to rapidly start losing some race drivers here, as there is going to be a lot of drivers with heavy, heavy damage. So we're going to put it into our final green-white checker attempt of the evening. As it's going to be our 4th caution of the night. As I know, it's Kaufman, Anderson, Giffen, Charette, Evans, Hoke, Page, Traver, Ross, Martin, all involved in that incident, probably several more the live timing didn't pick up. Now it's going to be interesting. Again, these guys start off with one fast repair tonight. Who had one left in reserve and may be able to get back out on track with a fresh race truck? And who is out for the evening? It shows 16 drivers still on the lead lap here. There is still smoke in the air at Daytona. Not sure if that's from the barbecues in the infield or from the drivers who were absolutely collected. As our flagman still there, proudly waving the yellow flag. Flagman Barney doing a great job as always. This is interesting. I believe Evans in 17th place, number 15 machine. I believe he had one fast repair left, just barely getting back out on the track ahead of the pace car. So he may be able to make his way around to the field and rejoin the race here, saving that repair for the last time. So I believe that's going to be 17 drivers on the lead lap after an absolute parking lot of a wreck. So now I think we're going to get ready for the final time here today. Let's see. It's been Johnson and McCauley and Ouellette running very strong all night long. Hopefully we can see these guys make it to the end under their own powers. Most of the crashes have been about that 10th place or back. And that's got to be frustrating for a lot of our drivers as well. You race 2 heat rates, you make it this far into the race. We're at lap 78, or about to be on lap 78 out of a 75-lap race, and then you have to go back to the hauler with some damaged equipment. But here we go. It's Michael J. Johnson, Cody McCauley out front charging hard. John Ouellette trying to get the outside line working the number 62 machine. Again, this is the final green-white checker attempt. Are we going to see a massive run from that outside line? There's only a couple of drivers there. As look at that, here comes Ouellette on the outside line as well. See if he can slingshot past Michael J. Johnson. Ouellette takes over the race lead. Somebody hooks, gets right into, I believe that was Lee. It's hard to tell. As the caution will come out for the final time. And another huge incident. And I believe we will finish under caution here today. As yes, we will finish under the checkered and yellow flag condition. So I believe it's going to be John Ouellette, Cody McCauley, and Matt Lee, who was a lap down for majority of the race, able to pick up a podium here today. Oh, that was a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. My heart rate is through the roof here in the broadcast booth. I know that's the same for several drivers as well. That is the good and bad about Daytona. Some days you win the old draft lottery and what's going to happen on track, and some days you're the nail. As I believe that's going to be the two teammates, John Olette, Cody McCauley, taking it 1 and 2. With Matt Lee bringing it up in third, but well done to all of our competitors. I mean, they made it through the night. That was a rough one for several drivers. Heck, I'm not going to lie to you. That's a rough one for me. That's a 3 hours we've been up here in the booth here late tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But I feel like the overall show was pretty darn good, all things considered. But put your hands together. John Olette wins it at his season debut here for the FEG PC Truck Series. As we're going to try and get our top 3 drivers up into the booth for their podium interviews. And John Olette, number 62 machine, is going to burn it down with a well-deserved win here at Daytona. Absolutely roasting the tires here and put on a show for everybody at home. I can't imagine he has a whole lot of gas left. I don't think he does. So we're going to try and get our drivers up here into the waiting room today. Knock out some interviews. Up first, we got Matt Lee in the 04 machine. Matt, you survived it. You were a lap down for what seemed like an eternity, but able to pull it off here at the end with a third. I mean, you got to be relatively happy with that.
Oh, I'm ecstatic with it. It weren't looking good there with 10 to go and lap down, and all because I missed the start, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So definitely a great finish for a real bad night.
Now, Matt, that was kind of uncharacteristic. I know you and the team were considering hanging back, but I can't imagine you plan on hanging that far back. I mean, what happened to cause you to miss the start?
Oh, I took a quick bathroom break and thought I'd be back in time, and literally, sat down at the chair and just missed the start there. So, we were looking all right when we got that first caution, but I pulled a boneheaded move and didn't come in and put us in a real bad spot.
Well, a rookie move by what is normally an absolute professional, but it's the start of the segment. You got third. A lot of the drivers went back to the hauler with some absolutely hammered race truck. Was there any strategy to keeping the 04 clean tonight, or was it just about being in the right place at the right time?
Yeah, when I got hooked up with Michael there, when I got a lap down, it was really just stay behind him, keep him in the lead, try to stay in that lucky dog spot as long as I could. Hope something happened, and from there on, it was kind of, I had my faster pair still, so it was come through the field as quick as I could, and I made it.
Yeah,
all the way up past all the lap cars there before the caution come out, and picked my way up through. So,
well, great job as always, man. That was a great show to watch. I mean, it felt like more than 4 cautions, but the guys did relatively good for a season opener at Daytona. I think that's about kind of what we all expected. Now, Matt, before I let you sign off, who do I give a shout-out to tonight that's supporting you? They support you all season long, but let's hear it today, my friend.
A huge shout-out to Scott Martin and Martin Sports for everything they do. Racing gloves that they make for me are awesome. GTR Simulators, CGE, Shenandoah Shine, McConey Setup Shop, all the guys that helped us here, Mike, Jeremy, and Scott in this race. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast as well.
Always a great time, Matt. Hope to see you up here more often throughout the season, man. And looks like we have quite the season coming up for us. A lot of fast guys making their way out.
Yeah, be a lot of fun for sure.
Well, that's third place Matt Lee. Join us in the booth. The gentleman who's normally up on top all season long, but good to see things shaking up, and he earned that third place. But now we've got Cody McCauley and the number 30 Toyota Tundra able to bring it home at the end. But, Cody, how you feeling right now, man?
Pretty good. This is probably the happiest I think I've ever been about a second place finish for me and John to go all 1-2 there. Had a good race. Super, super proud of John. Really, really excited for Delta 9 to 62 Designs. Put these trucks 1-2. We had 5 trucks trying to make the show tonight. We were able to put 3 of them in, and and then take 2 of those and 1 go to victory lane, 1 run P2. So can't be too mad at it, man. We had a great race, a lot of fun. Just, hell of a way to kick off the season.
Yeah, that was exciting from start to finish. I mean, so it's a season opener. You've got a lot more new faces. One of the bigger grids we've had compared to previous seasons. Did tonight go as clean as you thought it would? It was expected to be more of a crash fest? What were you expecting here today?
So the first race I was actually in, really surprising that we went green that long. And then watching the second race, watching some of our teammates try to fight their way in, kind of gave you mixed feelings. And then once we were able to get into it, I was actually really surprised. We had a long green flag run. Everybody was pretty patient with trying to get there. So super, super cool when you can get this many cars in the field on iRacing at Daytona and it just not be a total wreck fest. It makes for good racing, and I know it makes for good TV, so I'm sure you're excited about that.
I am. Makes my job a lot easier, but you guys did a great job out on track. Cody, before I let you sign off and celebrate with the rest of the team, who would I to give a shout-out to here today that's helping push you guys up to the front of the field week in and week out?
Man, big shout-out Delta 9. Check him on Instagram, Delta9PA. Carl Thompson, he does a great job, helps us out every week, puts trucks on the racetrack for us. Everybody over at 6'2 Designs, they do killer paint schemes. Hit them on Facebook, guys. You see these 2 trucks just ran 1-2. Both of them look awesome. Y'all just get with me. We'll hook you up with some paint schemes, best prices on iRacing. Everybody over at Kenneth McCullough Motorsports, all the teammates came out tonight and helped us out. Kale had a good run. I know we had Josh and Buddy back there struggling, but get better plate racing is not for everybody. So just looking forward to next week, man. Hit them hard with a doubleheader, and let's get 2 more wins.
Looking forward to it, Cody. Well spoken as always, and congratulations on a second place here tonight.
Thank you, bud.
And up next, the man of the hour. We've got Olette in the number 62 machine joining me in the booth, bringing home a win. I mean, the team went 1-2. John, you got to be pumped right now, my friend.
Yeah, what an awesome race. I can't thank Cody enough for the push there at the end. It worked out where we were lining up second and third there, and he just didn't get the help he needed on the outside, and I just got a great start there with Michael, and we were able to make it happen, get back together there, and really make a run.
Now, John, I kind of briefly checked the stats. Is today the first time you've run the truck series for FEG PC?
Yes, this is my first event here with the FEG. I know Cody ran a few races last season. I was running the AIRL league. I was committed to a short track truck series on Monday nights, but now that that's over with, we had a little mix-up. I brought Cody's number over. I brought the 62 tonight, but we're excited to get started here in the FEG series. What a way to start off the points run here.
Yeah, I mean, no pressure, but now you've got to win them all, John, if you're going to come out here for your first debut. So, I mean, I guess good luck.
Well, it's awesome to start off from the super speedways at Daytona and start off in the positive instead of having to dig out of a hole like we usually do. But could expect a good season. I'm looking forward to these drivers tracks, these short tracks, and hopefully we'll get lucky and put together some strong runs on a mile and a half.
Yeah, you talk about drivers tracks. I mean, we've got Darlington, we've got Richmond, we've got Bristol on the circuit, we've got Martinsville. Any of those tracks that immediately jump out to you and you think, man, that's my best shot again is that track, or is it all of them you're pretty comfortable at?
Yeah, I mean, I love Richmond, Bristol, and Darlington, but Martinsville is probably my best short track on on the NASCAR schedule. So look to see me up front there, but I'm hoping to run up front each and every week here. So I got to thank my partners for the help tonight. 6'2 Designs, that's Cody McCullough. Put together a couple beautiful race trucks tonight. If you need a paint scheme, you can hit him up on Facebook. We got KBR Services. He does some awesome automotive work, some custom work out in the Atlanta area, and he's got a Facebook page. You can check out some of his awesome rides he's worked on. And we're going to thank Delta 9 for all the support they've given us, and of course EPI, Elite Performance Industries. Awesome setup shop, awesome new setup shops. Their first season, we're going to be running their super setups for points in the official series, so check them out.
Oh, awesome, John. Congratulations. Welcome to the FEG PC family, and congratulations on your first win, hopefully of many. And, yeah, again, welcome to the league, my friend. Good to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much, James. What a way to kick it off.
Always a pleasure.
Have a good
Oh, didn't mean to cut off John there. My apologies, John. For everybody that stuck around tonight, again, thank you guys so much. I mean, this was quite the race here today. It was the opening round, but everybody able to put down some great racing all the way throughout the night. We had 2 heat races. We had one of the wildest season openers we've had all night long. And I think, I mean, you can't ask for more. Only 4 cautions tonight. A lot of great racing. Congratulations again to John Ouellette for bringing home his first ever win. Cody McCullough, his teammate, second. And one of the odds-on favorite to win it, Matt Lee, who crawled his way back up, able to bring home a third tonight. So well done to all of our competitors. That was a rough one for several people, but overall some great racing. As always, on behalf of FEG, PC.net, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a good night, everyone.